Hey fellow Nevillers, here we are back again with a personal share. I've got my nose up in one from 1959 this time. Fawcett's Letter. It's probably been about 6 months since I visited this one, and there is a whole bunch of fabulous information Neville shares up in it. In fact, there's 5 separate sections I've put it into, and I'm going to make this one a series because I'm realizing the lectures I'm only sharing a really small part, and I don't want you guys to miss anything. So let's deal with this one. It's Fawcett's Letter, and that's what we'll focus on today. He also describes why we're here in this lecture, our garment, the responsibilities of teachers in this world, the structures of the mind that we've built up from teachings of other people. And as we know, if you're a Nevilleaholic just like I am, and I'm presuming you are, since you're here watching, listening, paying attention, that you want to know what it really means, what Neville's telling. The false, he doesn't call them false teachers, but I think due to our understanding, we can kind of call them false teachers, even though Neville doesn't refer to them that way. Not in this lecture anyway, he does in others. He tells us how we are awakening. He also shares the ascent, and he also shares, he talks about the divine society in this lecture, which I've always been fascinated with. We'll do that in another part of this video. Of course, Neville is going to interpret some Bible quotes for us, so yet again that will be another part. So today's we'll stick to what the lecture's called, and that's Fawcett's Letter. This is from a guy well renowned back in the days of this lecture time. His name was Douglas Fawcett. The essence of the letter, my lovelies, is that Douglas Fawcett is coming to Imaginism. So you know Neville's jumping for joy at this. Let's see how Neville shares it. He says, "The other day my friend Bob Keeler showed me a wonderful letter. A month or so ago he wrote to Douglas Fawcett, whose concepts I have discussed here. He is now 93 years old and is a great philosopher. His name is mentioned on all the lists of reading required, though he is not always taken seriously. He was a former Don at Oxford. In answer to Bob's letter, this is the gist of what he said. He told Bob he was very interested, and then he said, 'I have been fighting for Imaginism since 1916, and all my experiments prior to 1916 I have abandoned as valueless.'" Can you imagine that? All of a sudden you come to Imaginism, everything you've worked your life for, you kind of dismiss it. Okay, none of it's important. Let's continue. I get a little excited. "But since 1916, I have been fighting for Imaginism. Douglas Fawcett came to Imaginism by the way of completely exhausting all other ideas." Is that not the way we come to Neville? It was the way I came to Neville. Passed through, I think, maybe 4 other spiritual teachers, landed at Neville, and now it's just Neville, Neville, Neville. And then he continues, "Douglas Fawcett came to Imaginism by way of completely exhausting all other ideas, including the Germanic ideas of truth. He eliminated them one by actual experiment. They did not fit the bill, and so, one after the other, he had to eliminate them, and then arrived at Imaginism. He drew on Blake to support his claim. Then he came to the discussion of what Bob had written about. Bob had sent him 2 of my books. Your faith is your fortune and awakened imagination. I don't know if you fellow Nevillers have been introduced by these two books, but they're fabulous, just like Neville's works are. He continues. So, your faith is your fortune and awakened imagination, and explained my teaching of revision, and said that people change their whole lives. Neville's about to discuss revision here and how Douglas Fawcett views revision. Neville describes it as the potter, and we'll do this in another video tomorrow because revision's powerful and I love it. Here Neville continues about Fawcett. He says, here is one great philosopher, Fawcett, who came to it completely by elimination, i.e. Imaginism. He wrote, I am so happy to find several allies in your great America. Everyone individually will awaken to the reality he is seeking. That is his own wonderful imagination. That is God. Fellow Nevillers, as you can see, the letter from Douglas Fawcett given to Neville is proof that there's another great philosopher out there back in 1969 that agreed with Neville. They both agree with Imaginism, as do we, or we wouldn't be here talking, discussing, sharing and relating this information. Tomorrow I'll go into the potter and revision because it's powerful. You can change your whole life, rewrite all the stuff you've done previously and make it conform to what you want to, i.e. your wish fulfilled. All right, fellow Nevillers, thanks for your time and attention. Big fat kiss, because you know I'm going to blow you some love up here. Thumbs up if you found it useful. Let me know what you gained out of these lectures you've been watching down there in the comments. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.